In this video, we are going to write a program that prompts the user for 3 integer values. It says the program should display to the user how many of the integers are odd. Okay, so since we're talking about if statements, that's what we're going to use. If else, or else if. And so put in your class header, your main method header. I'm just going to use scanner to do this. So create a scanner object. And after you create your scanner object, then prompt the user, enter an integer. And then save it in the variable. Int first equals in dot next int. All right, and just do that a couple more times. There's other ways to do that, but I haven't really talked about that. So we'll just do it like this. All right, and test that out, make sure that it is working okay. All right, looks okay. Okay, so I've got the input part of it down. And now what I want to do, in order to test to see whether a int is odd or even, right, then you can use the remainder operator, right? And so the remainder when divided by 2. So if the number is even, right, then what will happen is that the remainder when you divide by 2, right, will be something other than 0, okay? If it's even, right, it will be 0. And so what we want are the number of odds, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do, so this will tell me, right, for right now, I'm just to show you that works. I'm just going to put this message in here, but I'm going to take this out later. So just testing this out and showing you that that's going to work to test to see whether the number is odd. So I'm going to type in a 1, which is odd. I'm going to type in 44, which is even, so I should not get that message. All right, so you can see that this message looks like it's triggering, right, when first is odd. Okay, so I have an easy way to test to see whether or not a number is even or odd. Okay. Now, what they want in this program, they want a message, right, that should display whether or not, or how many of the integers are odd. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just do this check for each one of these. And I'm going to save the printing until the end. What I'm going to do is to keep a count of how many of the integers are odd. So that's why I'm going to create this other variable right here called count, and I'm going to set it equal to 0. So basically, I'm going to use this variable to keep track of how many integers, right, of these integers will be odd. So in this case, if the first one is odd, what I will get, right, is that this statement will be true, and it will fall into this if statement right here. So if that's true, then what I'm going to do is increase the variable count by 1. All right, and that's what this statement does. So whatever count is, right, in this case it would have to be 0, right? If it drops in here, then it will be 0 plus 1, which is 1, and then it will store the value back in the variable count here. So count will increase to 1 if this statement is true. Okay, and then I just do the same thing for the second and the third. So if the second number, remainder 2, is not equal to 0, then do the same thing. Count equals count plus 1. There is a shortcut for this that we didn't talk about yet, which is count plus plus. Count plus plus is just a shortcut, right, for this statement right here. It will increase it by 1. There are some other things related to that, but we just haven't talked about that yet. And do the same thing. Okay. All right, so now when I get down here at the very end, the variable count will have the exact number of odds that we've encountered. Okay, and so I just give a little message, system.out.printf. And put the variable count in there. All right, so let's test it out. All right, so I'm going to enter 1, 2, and 3, so I should get 2. All right, because 2 is even, the other 2 are odd. All right, let's enter 2, 4, and 6. 0, so that's correct. Let's enter 3, 5, 11, 3. And let's see, 4, 8, and 77. So I get 1. All right, so everything looks like it's working. All right, so here in this program, and again, this is only one way to do it. There's there's slicker ways to get this done with a little math, but here we're talking about if statements. And with if statements, the way this problem is, it's if you have to decide between a simple if, an if else, or an else if statement, then on this program we really couldn't use the others. We really had to test each of these numbers independently of each other. There's no relationship between these first, second, or third numbers that the user enters because, well, we can't see into the future and know what the user is going to enter. Okay, so we really had no choice in this program if we're going to use if else, or else if. By far the simplest is just to test each of these separately, right? Because if the first one was odd, then we want to increase the number by 1, and then if it's not, we don't want to do anything. Okay, so and then we have to do these separately. It's not like there's some connection between them. So here the clear choice between the three, the if statement, the else if, and the if else, is just the simple if statement. Okay, all right, that's it on this one.